Hey buyers, I'm Kara. I'm a real estate agent in Charleston, South Carolina, and this is my channel, The Better Buyer. Today, we're talking about the real cost of buying a home. Most buyers focus on the purchase price, but when it comes to the real cost of buying a home, there's a little bit more that goes into it. If you're thinking about buying, it's important to know what to expect to avoid any surprises at the closing table. So today, I'm going to cover the key expenses that go into buying a home. Let's talk about the down payment. The down payment is a cost that most buyers expect, but it doesn't have to be 20%. Depending on the loan type, it can be as little as 0% with the VA or 3.5% on an FHA loan. Conventional loans can range anywhere from 5 to 20%. And down payment assistance is a thing. So be sure to ask your lender if you qualify for any of the programs. They can come from the state, the county, they can come from the lender. Some of them are grants, some of them are forgivable loans that you don't even have to pay back. Just remember, the down payment directly affects your monthly mortgage payment and whether or not mortgage insurance is going to be required. So before you even start the home search, figure out how much you're comfortable putting down. Moving on, two important costs to plan for are inspections and appraisals. And while inspections are technically not required, I would never recommend skipping them. Not even on new construction. In the Summerville, Charleston area, you can expect to pay anywhere from $300 to $600 for a general inspection, and that's generally out of pocket. Here's the thing, inspections more often than not are going to save you money in the long run. Imagine moving in and then finding out that the HVAC is on its last leg. That could be like a $10,000 replacement in some cases. And when you put that next to the $500 inspection, that $500 inspection does not look so bad. Appraisals, on the other hand, are almost always required. And they ensure for the lender that the property is worth what they're agreeing to pay for it. In this area, you can expect to pay anywhere between $500 and $700 for an appraisal. So additional cost, yes, but inspections and appraisals protect the buyer and they protect the lender. Closing cost. I talked about closing costs a little bit in my last video, but to recap, they include things like attorney fees, lender fees, title insurance, deed recording fees, and in South Carolina, you can expect to pay anywhere from about 2 to 5% of the purchase price for those. But remember, they can be negotiated, either with sellers or through lender credits. As a general rule of thumb, it's always best to budget as if you're going to be responsible for the entirety of the closing cost. Here's an expense that few people think about: moving and setup. You won't see it on the settlement statement, but remember to plan for moving and setup expenses after the closing. Even if you rent a truck and move yourself, you're still going to have to pay for things like boxes, packing tape, maybe you have to take some time off work. Or if you're going to hire movers, that could be several $1,000s depending on how far you're going and how much you're taking. Then there's furniture, or suddenly you have 15 new windows that you need to get blinds for. Don't forget about utilities, setting up water, electric, gas. All of those come with setup or transfer fees. It's not uncommon for buyers to spend a couple $1,000s after moving to get settled in, so make sure that you have money set aside for this type of thing ahead of time. Let's talk about HOA and regime fees. Neighborhoods with HOAs and or regimes have monthly and or annual fees. These can range anywhere from $25 a month to several $100s. The key thing to know about these fees is that they factor into your loan qualification, so it's important to account for them when you're figuring out how much you're comfortable with as a monthly payment. If you're approved for a $2,000 monthly payment, that's going to include your mortgage, your taxes, your mortgage insurance, and your HOA or regime fees. While we're on the subject, HOAs and regimes tend to have a bad reputation, but I personally love them, and I plan to make a video on why that is, so look out for that. Taxes and insurance. Property taxes and home insurance are ongoing costs of home ownership. Generally, owner-occupied properties in South Carolina are taxed at 4%, and other properties that are non-owner occupied, like rentals or second homes, are taxed at 6% of their assessed property value. Insurance premiums aren't as straightforward. The cost of insurance is based on a property's age, condition, and location. And in South Carolina, we have a lot of coastal land and flood-prone areas. So if you're thinking about buying near the water, you need to consider that flood insurance may be required. Plan for at least a few $1,000s a year for insurance. This is all to say, when you're considering affordability, the recurring costs are just as important as that monthly mortgage payment, so be sure you're accounting for them. Let's wrap it up. So, the purchase price is part of a bigger equation when it comes to the cost of buying a home. Between the down payments, the inspections and appraisals, the closing costs, the moving expenses, the HOA and regime fees, and then the ongoing cost of taxes and insurance, there's a lot to consider when you're thinking about affordability. The best buyers prepare for expenses beyond that purchase price. If you found this video helpful, do me a favor, like, subscribe, continue to check out my channel where I'll dive even deeper into buyer strategies, investment insights, and everything else you need to know to be a better buyer. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.